Good afternoon and welcome to Citizen AI, the platform where we speak truth to power. Good afternoon to you all. I hope I find you well. Let's just check one or two things as we're doing this. Very important that we do not have back feeding issues and things. Good afternoon and welcome. I know it's short notice. I did say I'll be back later on. We might do this for about an hour or so. And we're just going to talk about a range of things. Just like the headline states, what we want is a referendum. That's what we want. We don't want anything else. All we want is referendum. The idea that the government is passing a law, electoral bill law, in the face of the injustice going on, highlights the problem that we face as a people. A governance that is not listening to the people, listening to our clamor for good governance, our clamor to have our governance to be, good afternoon, to actually listen to the concerns of the people and actually hear our cries, So that's what we're talking about now. We're going to take that switch over to YouTube, Facebook as well. Good afternoon, those of you again on YouTube. Good afternoon and welcome on board. Let me just do something for a second. I want to make sure I got this right because I want to do one or two tweaks to the broadcast. I don't know if I got everything I needed to get in there, but if not, okay, yeah, okay, good. Yes, I think it's in there, and it speaks. All we want is referendum. That's what the sign says, and there is not too much to ask. Good afternoon, those of you watching us on YouTube. As you're watching, do tune in. Today, as you all know, the president, we don't know which one it is. We don't know which president it is, but the president signed the electoral bill into law. They made a lot of noise about that. But at the end of the day, what is really important is that the unwillingness, it is clear that the people who are in power, they are unwilling to hear our clamor, our call for governance, accountability, our call for a referendum. And that's why you see on the what you see that I put up there, all we want is referendum. Let me go into that again quickly and I'll put that up here because it's a message that we need to send out to these people that we, the people, we're not going to relent. We will not relent. We will not give up. All we want is referendum now. That is what we must continue to clamor for. You see, to sign into law this fraud called electoral bill, to sign it into law is to continue to allow the fraudulent promulgation decree number 24 of 1999 to continue to oppress us. So let me just, so that's fine. Let me go back. I'm going to bring those of people who are on YouTube on board. Let's do that now. So we're going to bring people who are on YouTube on board briefly, quickly. Good afternoon and welcome to Citizen AI. Welcome back to Citizen AI, the platform where we speak truth to power. We are trying to give as much information and an update on things that are going on. And I think we should all be aware of one or two things that are happening. We need to be very, very cognizant of the fact that this governance, this oppressive governance, is going full steam ahead and imposing this electoral bill on the citizens with the clear knowledge that the people are speaking. Make no mistake about this. The voice of Igbos and Yorubas and Middle Belt clamoring for a referendum is ever stronger. Indeed, it is something that they are aware of, but they are trying to hopefully find a way to say, pretend as though it didn't happen, we're not speaking, and that maybe that will go away. Well, they're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. They're very, very wrong. So we have to continue. We need to continue to to speak truth to power. Now we're gonna play it. I mean, you can see that sign there. It says all we want is referendum. Now we will, between this, we will also go back to the updates on what is happening in Ukraine. And let me actually do something before we go and go to our own area. Let's just show you what is happening in Ukraine in one or two things as a clip that I saw earlier on, and I thought it would be something of interest for us to look at, just purely for us to be aware of what others are doing in terms of taking of the situation that they find themselves as a group of people. Many of us, whether you, I think many of us, and in fact, you will see in the video, I'm going to show you something which will come up in a minute. You should see it. Let me see. Download. Let me just go there. Yeah, I'm just going to do that now. In the video that I'm about to play, you will see, I will point out certain things to you when the time is right. And what I'm trying to point out to you is that there are our people there. There are people, Africans, probably the people from contractual Nigeria. As of now, we don't have a clear plan of we do not have a clear exit strategy from Ukraine that the government has put in place for the citizens of that contraption. There is no clear strategy. Yes, sure, they spoke about, yes, we will take them home, but we all know very well that it is one thing for these people in government to tell us we will do something, and they're their mouth is sweet like honey. Their mouth is sweet like honey. They can wax lyrical. They will talk. They will come at you. They will make you this promise. They will make you believe it's actually in your hand. But the reality, when you look at the reality of what they're doing, it becomes radically different. And that's what I wanted to highlight with this video. Let's see if I can bring this up now. Let's see if I can bring that up. Okay, let me, 1 second. I'm just going to show you, and we'll talk through the video. I'll talk through that video just to give us a bit of context. It's important we understand that we are in this world, and what is being done in Ukraine and all of that is going to have an impact on us and how things are done. So let's see if they're going to work. Okay, let's try this. So here we go. This is in Ukraine. There are people who are trying to flee in Ukraine because of the onslaught of the Russians in taking over Ukraine. Many are probably aware, many of you in the 70s and 80s are probably aware that many of the countries who are now called different names, Ukraine and others, they were part of the Russia, Soviet Union. So there is a bit of history there. I'm not going to come and tell you what is right or what is wrong about that. That's not our job. But what we are going to say is that to stand and speak and show you what going for self-determination looks like and what we should begin to have in our mind. Because it is clear to us that those who are imposing that contraption Nigeria upon us, they are not listening. And it is time we, the people, continue to make every effort, every energy to raise the level of awareness about our right to self-determination. But let me show you this video, and we'll talk about that. Then we will now go and talk about the amendment to the electoral bill, which for me is a misnomer, is a misplaced priority in its entirety. Let's watch this now. Here goes. You heard the gunshot there. People are trying to flee Kiev. They're trying to go westwards to Western Europe because nobody feels safe. That is what's happening. Now let's listen on. So that's what you had. There was a gunshot you had there. Yes, you had that correct. Let's play on. As you can hear, there are shots fired into the air. This is by Sky News, by the way, but just wanted to put it there. Trying their hundreds to board trains leaving Kiev. Right. I will pause it at a particular point in a minute. So, yeah. You see, there's a gun there because the order has gone. People are fearing for their lives, and they're deciding to leave whilst they can. Because that situation, whether or not you support Ukraine, whether or not you support Russia, it is definitely a situation where people feel unsafe and they want to move to safer ground. Just a bit of context. Let's carry on. See that? That was a military man trying to create order because people are listening. They're trying to leave from Kiev to live in Poland. Poland is now going to be a refugee point where people are going to be coming in. So let me just go back. I wanted to show you, there was something I missed there. I wanted to show you that there's a bit I missed there. Where is it? I wanted to just show you. So here we go. Now, one more time, there's something I wanted to show you. And when I see it, I will pause it. There we go. So there we are. There, I wanted you to, let me just see. Can you see that? No, you can't. I'll just move my face because I want you to see that. There you go. Yes, you can see it. You can see where my arrow is. There is an African, most likely to be a Nigerian student. I can't confirm that, but I'm just saying this exemplifies what, again, it shows you do you see a clear exit strategy to fly all Nigerian people home, so-called Nigerians home? Do you see that? People, there was a post which I'm actually going to share. People were even saying to the government, you know what, we don't want your help. We will do it on our own because the last time you didn't help. Let me see if I can get access to that post. It's very important context to bring in the scheme of things that we're talking about. These are the things that is really happening on ground. Okay, now I'll bring that up now. You will see it come up. Now, I wanted to show you. So this was the context when it broke out. So I'm just showing you, I'll come back to that picture, but I wanted to just highlight the need for us. All of this, keep in mind, is about identifying the reasons why we are going for self-determination. A governance that cannot provide a clear plan of exit strategy for its people in a war zone. Never mind, we do know that what we have on ground in contractual Nigeria is an undeclared war zone. Let's be very frank with ourselves. And those who are in power know this. They are empowering Fulanis. The borders are open in the north, flooding us in the south, giving them guns as they come into our borders to kill Southerners. But I'm just showing you. Now let's read some of what they said in this paper. Listen, it says here, some Nigerians who are currently trapped in Ukraine as a result of the crisis with Russia have ruled out the option of returning to the country. Speaking with Daily Trust via telephone, they expressed cynicism about the federal government's promise to evacuate willing Nigerians from war-torn country following Russia's invasion. We are under attack. Nigerian students in Ukraine begs the FG for evacuation. 5 things to know about Ukraine crisis. The House of Representatives, in a resolution on Thursday, called for the immediate evacuation of Nigerians, while the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, said the process will commence once airports in the country were open. With everything going on, I doubt if those airports will be open. I'm not quite sure. I think many people, rather than wait for airports, because the airspace above Ukraine now is hotly contested. There must be all these aircraft, war aircrafts, fighter jets. Say that's the word. Fighter jets are probably flying over the airspace in Ukraine. So you have either it could be air jets, well, largely Russian air jets against Ukraine helicopters, something like that. So probably flight into Ukraine is probably not a good idea at this point. I would suggest. I am no expert. Believe me, I am no expert. I'm just professing some ideas and some thought process that one would have thought those who are responsible supposedly for the lives of the citizens would consider and look at various options, not just talking about flight that will never take place in a war zone. So that's one thing I wanted to just put in there. Now let's carry on. So it says here, but Eddie Dion Cyprian Upaka, a Nigerian who lived in Ukraine for many years, dismissed the calls as not only being unrealistic, considering the closure of the airspace. Thank you very much. I hadn't read that, but there you go. This is what I'm thinking, and this is what sensible thinking people who live in civilized society would naturally deduce, or automatically when there's war, the likelihood of a plane flying out of Ukraine is zero. It is zero. But that again highlights the failure of governance that we keep showing and explaining to you as reasons for why we are justified in going for self-determination. Now let's carry on. So it says here, not only being realistic, but considering the closure of the airspace, but due to the past unfulfilled promises of evacuation. So the Nigerian government have got history. They made promises that they would evacuate people back in 2013, and it never happened. So the people there now, they don't trust them. Once bitten, they say twice shy, and rightly so. Listen to this again. I was here in 2013 during the similar crisis when they promised to evacuate Nigerians and they never did, he said. So this is the attitude of every Nigerian in Ukraine, and they will promise in Ukraine that they, i.e. the contraption Nigeria government, will promise and not fulfill. Again, you see, like I said it before. Before I started reading this, I said the mouth of these people in government is sweet like honey. They will wax lyrical. You see, the way they will talk to you about this, you will think that it's already happened. That yes, it's there, it's for certain, it's no doubt. But the reality is always 100% different, as evidenced by what this man has just been saying here. This Southerner is what I would like to say. I do not feel there is anything to be proud of in calling myself a Nigerian. And I'm sure those of you watching me, the fact that you're watching this show, this broadcast, suggests that you feel exactly the same way I feel. There is nothing. Name me one thing that you can point to make you feel that you feel proud of that contraption. There is nothing. Whilst we're going ahead, please, I would urge you, please, subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. As always, as you go to YouTube, subscribe. I'm going to try and put the link up, but I'm going to do something as we are talking here, because it always helps. Go ahead, subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. We do not have any confidence any longer in what is being done on Facebook. Facebook can bring the numbers down, they can do whatever. It's just a platform. So we want to have as many platforms as possible to be able to broadcast and reach many supporters of the platform. The best way you can give us support is to go in straight to Citizen AY on YouTube, click the subscription button, hit the notification button, and of course, give us the thumbs up. If you do those three things, you will help us be able to get our message out there. It is really important that we continue to speak up and espouse the ideals, the proper and the rightful, our right to self-determination as a group of people, Southerners particularly. I'm talking Middle Belt, I'm talking Igbos, I'm talking Oduduwa people. We have that right to self-determination. And this platform is entirely focused on speaking truth to power. With your help, we can reach many more people and continue to raise the level of awareness and get us to reach the point where we collectively together can stand together and clamor for the referendum which we rightly deserve due to the fact of the failure of governance that has impoverished our lives for over 60 years altogether. 22 years since the Second Republic, but in total 60 years. I'm talking of no electricity, no water, no light, no schools, no bridges, no healthcare. These are the kind of things that they made empty promises about and they have never fulfilled. Same thing they're making again. They're making an empty promise that they will pick up Nigerians from Ukraine, and we know very well, just like in 2013, and today they are not going to make that promise. They will not fulfill that promise. That is why we're saying to you, a government that repeatedly fails. Good afternoon, my brother. Good afternoon, Lola Meji. A government that repeatedly fails to to honor the promises it makes to its citizens is not a government we want to be part of. We are entitled in our right, we are entitled as citizens of that contraption to withdraw our sovereignty from a government that is putting us in danger. We are fully entitled as citizens to withdraw at a moment's notice our sovereignty from a government that has failed repeatedly to provide us with safety and security, which should be their number one primary responsibility. And these are the things that I would encourage us all to be forthright about, to speak about. This is not about abusing anybody. Any of the people who claim to be speaking for the people do not provide any service, have not provided any service to improve the lives of the very people they promised to serve. They haven't. All of these politicians, name any one of them, they have not done it. And that is the fact. And this is why we are urging you all, please, this is a journey that we must all be involved in. We must continue to speak truth to power. We must continue to enlighten our people, to encourage them to know that they have the power to go for the right and the power collectively to go for self-determination. Self-determination is a right, as laid down within the UN Charter. In the UN Charter, it states that indigenous people have the right to determine what type of governance they want. As it stands now, the governance that has been put in place, that has been imposed upon us, has been imposed by dint of the military, by force. At no point have we, in the Second Republic, had a referendum whereby we signed up to the promulgation decree number 24 of 1999 that they now say is our constitution. None of us did that. The military, 40 military men in a room, sat together and decided to impose it on us. And they have, ever since that date, since the 29th of May 1999, we have been in slavery. We have been enslaved. In fact, we've been re-enslaved again. Because the military, every time they take over, they do not allow the voice of the people to be heard. As it stands now, for as long as this fraudulent 1999 constitution stands, the voice of the people is not being heard. The voice of the people is not being heard. And the only way we can redress that is those who impose themselves in power must be made to realize that the people collectively, particularly in the areas of Middle Belt, Igbo and Yorubas, will continue to advocate for rightly what is their right, the right to self-determination, and nothing will stop us. So please subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. And we will be doing us a great favor if you could do that. I'm going to put the link up here. I don't know if I can do an hour or so on the platform. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if it's, let me see, did I get that right? I think I did, yeah. So Yes, all hail Oduduwa. Yes, all hail Oduduwa. And also, we also want our Igbo brothers to get their land as well. And, I mean, Biafrans and Igbos, we want you to get your. That is, we need to stand together, and we, the bodies who are working on that, we need to work with them. As ever, like I said again, please don't forget. Go right ahead. Subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. You'll be doing us a great favor. Once you subscribe, hit the notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up. All of that will be of great help. Doesn't matter what is happening on Facebook. We also, please do follow us on Twitter as well. We have Citizen AY on Twitter, and follow us as well on Instagram. I'll be putting the links up about that as we go through the program, if and when it's possible. But for now, let's carry on where we left off. We were talking about Ukraine, and what the experiences of Nigerians that have been let down by their government countless times in Ukraine. Countless times. And of course, we are all experienced in that letdown by that failure of governance in contraption Nigeria. We have all been collectively let down repeatedly, not just once, not twice, not several, countless times. They've made promises in 1986. That was supposed to be the last year in which we would have no electricity. We are in 2022 and we still don't have steady electricity in contraption Nigeria. And yet somebody will tell you to believe in one Nigeria. So these are the kind of things we are putting forward for you to be able to see, and justify. We're justifying to you as we're talking to you about why we're justifying our call for referendum. We are giving you examples of why we are fully within our rights to call for, advocate for, and continue to urge all of us to speak together with one voice and call for a referendum, because the governance that is in place, successive government, have been bound by that fraudulent constitution, which means that they must swear on oath to protect that fraudulent constitution, one in which the voice of the people was never heard. So let's go back again. Let's carry on. So I just want to bring the thread together so we understand what is really happening. So let's go on. So it says here, so this is the attitude of every Nigerian in Ukraine, that they, i.e. the federal government, will promise and not fulfill. And we are all experienced. We all have that personal knowledge. Each and every one of us has experienced despair, disappointment, trickery, the lies of we've experienced it personally. Please do tell me if I am lying. I am not saying this. These are facts that we're talking about. Millions of Nigerians have been let down repeatedly by any of the government you care to mention in this Second Republic. And that is an undisputed fact. Please type 1 if what I'm saying makes sense to you. Type 1 on YouTube. Type 1 on Facebook. Let's just pause there for a minute before I carry on to read on in the paper that you see here. Do you agree with me that collectively, as people, we have been let down repeatedly? Please type 1, because as we go along, so we know if we are on the same page. If you disagree, of course you can also put it down there. But if you do disagree, give instances of where we have received collective benefits from our government. Please do so. Because here we encourage free speech, something that the federal government will not allow. As we speak, they stopped us having peaceful protests in the South since around about June, July last year. Until date, we are not allowed to peacefully protest about our right to self-determination, because they do not want our voice to be heard. But yet they are imposing a fraudulent constitution on you and I. So please do type 1. Let's just see the ones, and let's go and look on YouTube to see if there's a 1 or 2 on there as we're talking, because it's really important. If it resonates with you, if this makes sense, what I'm saying to you is that we can all collectively agree that our governance in its totality has disappointed millions. I am talking literally millions of the citizens repeatedly, to such an extent that we no longer have confidence in their governance. Do you agree with me? Type 1 if this resonates with you. Please don't forget, as you're coming in, go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube, and also hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Type 1 if this resonates with you. We'd like to hear that, because it's important to be able to see how what's your thought on this. How do you feel about this? What is it, where do you agree with that assessment? Is it something that you've experienced? These are the kind of things I am hoping that we can, bring up in our people. We need to speak truth to power. Governors that cannot give promise, make you a promise. They told the Ukrainians, the citizens in Ukraine, we will bring you home. But they said to them, 1, the airspace is closed. 2, last time in 2013, you promised to bring us home, you didn't. So they are finding their own way. That's because the citizens have zero confidence in contractual Nigeria. Do type 1 if what I'm saying resonates with you. I would like you to see one or two. So that's what I wanted to just to put there. So if this resonates with you, and you can and do type 1. Okay, but whilst I'm waiting for that, I will crack on with the show, and let's look at this now. So it says here, 1 second, please. 1 second, please. Let me just 1 second. So, so we're back now. So, what I wanted to just do, we're going to read through what the guy was saying here, and I will carry on. So, like I said, do type 1 if you agree that you cannot, not all of us can both collectively agree that we do not trust anything that is said by anybody in our governance, that they have repeatedly let down the citizens collectively. Is this something you agree with? If you dispute with it, if you disagree, tell us reasons why. But I'm sure you have all experienced severe sheer disappointment, be it in the healthcare sector, be it in terms of treatment by the police, be it in terms of lack of infrastructures, be it in terms of general safety and security. We have all been let down collectively by this governance. In fact, all of them. So that's what I wanted to just highlight. Now let's carry on with the discussion as we put it down. So it says here. So Cyprian described the circular from the Nigerian embassy, calling Nigerians to be responsible for their protection and safety. I'm sorry. He's calling on Nigerians to be responsible for their protection and safety as appalling when other countries are making provisions on how to evacuate the citizens, providing phone calls, lines to call, shelter, and aid to their people. And the Nigerian government is telling us, you are on your own. You see, this bears out what I keep telling you. Point out one benefit of being part of one Nigeria. There isn't any. There simply isn't any. And that's the point that is being made in that broadcast. Let me just see if I can. I'm trying to neutralize 1 or 2 things here, because I don't really want that to be. So let me just do that here. Sorry, okay. So anyway, so let me just take that down. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't really want that. It's just so right. So what I'm trying to do is right away, Cyprian has just exposed it. He said, you are on your own. A government that wants you to believe in one Nigeria, but yet when something happens to your life, they don't pay you any compensations. They don't put in jail those who kill your family, yourself, damage your property, damage your crops. Nothing. But they want you to believe in one Nigeria. Can you see the absurdity of believing in one Nigeria? And this is exemplified by what I've just read to you now. By what I just read to you, it is exemplified by it. Because in that report, so let me just take this. In that report, it states that, you are on your own. In a foreign country, that is the last thing you want to hear from your governance. Because when you are on your own, You are miles away from home. And the reason you are away from home, by the way, is because of the very bad governance. That is why we clamoring for self-determination. Do you follow? These are the kind of discussions that I hope we can meaningfully have among ourselves as we go forward. It is really important that when we break this down, we are making our people understand that the governance that we have now has actually imprisoned, impoverished, enslaved us all collectively to such an extent that some of us try and seek a better life in diaspora. But we are realizing that in many of those places, the resources that they use in those countries often comes from our climes. So the time has now come for us to stand up, make our land a great place for ourselves and the coming generations to be in. And that is why, to do that, we will need a referendum. We will need us all to stand together as Igbos, as Middle Belt, as Oduduwa people, to stand together and clamor for that referendum and work to achieve it. Because what is in place right now is an imposition. It is a fraudulent constitution that they're trying to now cement by this electoral bill nonsense. It's a fraud. It's a misplaced priority. Now let's listen on to what this man is saying. Oh, do bear with me. Do leave comments, and I would read it as we're going along. As well. So it says here, let's tell ourselves the truth. There is no airspace to fly in. America evacuated our citizens a long time ago and other countries. Now Russian troops are all over Ukraine already. We rely on the prayers of Nigerian pastors and bishops to save us from this. You see again, you you go to a country and you go to a foreign country and you expect, instead of a government being there for you, you are only relying on prayers. And how often has the government said, let us pray? Our government holds days, 3 or 4 days prayer session of nonsense, empty prayers, not backed by actions. And that is what he's saying. This is borne out by the article. It's borne out by it. These are the reasons why we are telling you, my fellow Igbo, my Middle Belt and Oduduwa people, wake up. This is the reality that we are faced with. We must go for self-determination because the governance, they have let us all down collectively. Let us speak the truth. Please do tell, if you disagree, you are welcome to disagree with me. On this platform, we want to have an exchange of a dialogue, an exchange of ideas and opinion to get us to the promised land. As it currently stands, Nigeria is not that promised land. Oduduwa nation is, Igbo nation or Biafra nation, Middle Belt is. Those are the promised land. Now, so let's carry on here. So the Nigerian embassy are not helping matters. They don't want to hear the truth. Straight away. Yeah, again, you see, the embassy is only reflecting what is happening back home. The federal government of that contraption don't care about the citizens, the indigenous people. They are working to get our land and get the resources that you see behind me. They are trying to take it away from the owners of those resources, which is you and me and our ancestors. Our ancestors handed this down to us. They want to strip it away from us. So they don't care about our future or the future of those of our coming generation, except to put us in enslavement. And we must break this yoke. We must break this yoke, but we can't do it individually. It is got to be a collective effort. This has to be a collective effort. Let's read on. So it says here, the Nigerian embassy here are not helping matters, and they don't want to hear the truth. Nigerian government never wants to hear the truth. Treasurer Chinenye Belgam, a medical student in Kiev, said the government's gesture is good, but I am a believer in Christ and I have to ask God for direction whether to return to Nigeria or not. Well, okay, that's his own, So that's, he again, you see, a government should give you confidence. You see, when people hold that British passport or the US passport, they are 50% out of whatever mess they are in by just holding it alone. Now tell me, if you're in trouble and you hold a Nigerian passport, do you feel confident that you will say you are a Nigerian? Wait. You tell me. Do you feel confident? Please, good afternoon. Sorry, Omogbola Alaba. Good afternoon. This program today, we're doing it in on Citizen AY in mostly English. We'll be back later on, maybe this evening, and we will do an Oduduwa language broadcast. You will see the sign will be slightly different. But today, we would just want to, this afternoon, we want to just go over the issue of the electoral amendment and the petrol issue briefly, but touch also on Ukraine. So here we go. So it says here, most Nigerians who are here on hustle are not willing to leave. They prefer to die here. You see, that's an indictment. Straight away, that's an evidence. You see, when citizens who manage to leave from that contraction, they leave. They will rather die where they are than to go back because they know that it's a hellhole. And that is yet more evidence that Nigeria is a failed project. Nigeria is a... People, listen to the words. It says most Nigerians who are here on hustle are not willing to leave. They prefer to die here. That is a shame. If any of the people who are in governance understood the meaning of what is being said here, they would cover their heads in shame instead of lying to us that Nigeria is a best place. Everybody is welcome. We will protect you, which is all lies. All they know is about just spewing lies and not delivering on any of those things. And that is why we have no confidence. And that is why we are calling for a referendum now. That is why we are calling on our Middle Belt brothers, the Igbos, and Oduduwa people to work together, come together, and let's break away from contraction in Nigeria. The North can keep the name Nigeria if they want, and they can be part of the whatever else, whoever colonials want to talk to them. But we know that with the resources we have in our soil and our technical know-how and our brain power, we can move mountains. We can, and we must. And we have to prepare this for the coming generation. We must. So let's carry on. So it says here, it's like after God has lifted you one step higher, you want to go 2 steps backwards. It's like being demoted. So to go back to your country, you see, listen to the terms in which they are describing contraction Nigeria. Listen, let's read it again. It says, it's like God has lifted you one step higher. You want to go 2 steps backward. It's like being demoted. You see, that is telling you, this is the psychology of millions of so-called citizens of that contraption. Psychologically, they feel deflated, defeated, because their government has not supported them by providing the things like infrastructure, the very things that they're seeing in the countries that they go to. Do you follow me? This is why we're saying we are totally entitled to go for self-determination via referendum. And we must work collectively together towards that. Let's read on. It says here, but you need a lot of humility to go back to Nigeria because some people sold land, cars, and the rest to come here, and they have amazing stories. Similarly, Julius, a Nigerian living in Kiev, said the announcement to evacuate Nigerians is a good idea, but will not be heeded by the Nigerians in that country. Considering the economy in Nigeria, I think a lot of people would rather look for the safest place here than returning to Nigeria. This is what I'm saying. Look, those of you talking about one Nigeria, the people who are abroad, if you don't take my words, just read this yourself. Draw your own conclusions. Don't just come on air and saying on one Nigeria I stand. What does that even mean? On one Nigeria, what does one Nigeria mean to you? What one Nigeria? It is evident from what I am reading to you that one Nigeria is a disaster. It has been a disaster on the lives of millions of us. Generations. 6 generations, in fact. 6 generations of people from the South, Middle Belt, Igbos, and Yoruba and Oduduwa nation. Nigeria has been a misery. It has been an imposition. It has been and continues to be an impoverishment. There is not one word you can hear. And before you know it, now somebody will come and say they will pay somebody to come and say something good about Nigeria. But the fact is we have no infrastructure. No one can dispute that. That is indisputable. So let's carry on. They should do it. Supply aircraft so that it becomes a choice for others who would want to stay back for those who want to return. Yeah, He said the situation is escalated in the capital city on Thursday with the crazy queues at malls and a lot of people moved to stock up on provisions. So anyway, so there you go. So that is we just picked one story random, and I'm telling you, just on even the war situation, you can see that there is no confidence by the citizens of contractual Nigeria in their own governance. That is one indication of why we are justified in going for self-determination. This is not about, we are giving evidence. This is clear evidence, indisputable evidence. Something that Lai Mohammed and others, Yagaba Shehu, Femi Adesina, they will come and start disputing what we are saying here. But this is the evidence before us. And people do not have confidence that the government saying they will take them, fly them home, that it will even happen. These are the reasons why we no longer want to be part of contractual Nigeria. Let the Arewa people keep contractual Nigeria if they want. We need to chart a new course for the coming generation of Oduduwa people, Middle Belt, and Igbos. And that we must collectively do together. Now, let's carry on. So I just wanted to just show you that. So I'm going to pull that away now. And then let's go back to that video. If I can find that video. So you can see there's one or two people there who are Africans. It's most likely to be a student studying in Ukraine. But the government, they will not come and give them a hand. They will not fly them home safely. I'd like to be proved wrong. If they do it, I will say, kudos to them. I will say it. But I mark my words. Many of our students will be left stranded. Many. Sadly. I'd love to be proved wrong on that. But the evidence is on the ground. When a nation where they can't provide infrastructure, safety, security, water, light, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? There's nothing to talk about. It's only one way. So let's just carry on now. So I just wanted to put that. Now let's watch this video one more time, then we'll roll to the next one. Here we go. So that's a gunshot.
Shots fired into the air at that train station in the Ukrainian capital as people try in their hundreds to board trains leaving Kiev, ostensibly for the west. As we see at the moment, there is talk that people are trying to head to Lviv and even beyond. The Polish certainly preparing themselves for a refugee influx.
You see that now?
Their border, in fact.
So you can see the Ukrainian to try and create some order, to try and, they're having to shoot. Now, here's the second bit I want you to watch. In the same video, this second bit, there are conscripts. People are being encouraged to protect themselves. And I'll tell you why I'm showing you this afterwards. Let's watch this.
In larger numbers than they did yesterday, which was the first day of the invasion. It seems some have decided to leave the capital today as those missiles start falling. And now the images that you're seeing here again in Kiev, civilians arming themselves. We know, of course, that conscription is now in place in Ukraine.
So you heard that. Civilians arming themselves. The government of the day, the Ukrainians, the self-determined government, has started providing ammunition for its people to protect themselves in their land. That's just something for us to be aware of. Our governance has failed to do this. Instead, they say, defend yourself. Magashi said, defend yourself. But to provide the arms to protect ourselves against the marauders, the terrorists coming into the land, they failed to provide it. You can see it. Let's just play it again. These are reasons why we are justified. A government that's telling you to protect yourself, but failing to give you weapons and to protect yourself. In Ukraine, conscripts are going in, they're taking the name down, protect yourself. But across the whole country, the government is ensuring that the terrorists are armed and the people are defenseless. That's why we are saying we are justified in going for a referendum now. Self-determination. I'm putting evidence, clear evidence of failure of governance and why we are justified in going for self-determination before you. Let's watch on.
Men aged between 18 and 60, they are
you see? Men between age and 18 and 60. Instead, Magashi, General Magashi or whatever they call him, will come out and say, yes, you defend yourself, you can protect yourself. but you don't give us the means to protect our villages, our communities. And at this point, I want to say again to every southern community, Middle Belt, Igbos, and Yorubas, it is of immense importance that you set up vigilante groups to protect yourselves. That is the first thing we need you to do. You cannot be part of any process of referendum if you are not alive. And that is why collectively standing and setting up the vigilante groups is the first thing to do. It's the first thing that we suggest that you all begin to think of. That is more important than anything else right now. If you can protect your community, you reduce the number of attacks, daily attacks that's happening in that all over the South. If the people who are doing the attack are now aware that there's a lot of vigilante groups all over the South, they would think twice before coming into our communities. But if we just stand there and wait and pray that God protect us, without any action, I'm sorry, it's a waste of time. This is how you protect yourself. In Ukraine, they are extremely religious, but you see that the government is giving them arms, something to defend their lives. I ask you a question. The government has admitted that the Boko Haram terrorists and the Fulani headsmen, they are killing people, but they fail to provide arms for people, for southerners, for the citizens to protect themselves. Is that a good governance? Is that a good governance? And these are reasons why we are justified. I'm pointing out justifiable reasons for going for self-determination via referendum. And please, do not hold out any hope for restructuring. Restructuring is dead in the pan. It is dead in the pan. It is a lie. It's a spin. It's a lie that they put forward before you. We restructure. They will not change it. You cannot restructure that fraudulent constitution. It has to be gotten rid of. It is a fraud. It will remain a fraud. 68 exclusive items denying you access to the resources that you see behind me. That is what is happening. And we need to wake up and be cognizant of this fact. That's why I'm bringing this to your attention. Let's watch on.
Not allowed to leave the country and indeed are being conscripted to defend their country. And here we see...
You see, young men are not being allowed to leave. They are being conscripted to defend themselves. So they keep saying, our government will say our youths are lazy. But then the same government will tell us, oh, we have the terrorists are all over, they're overrunning our communities. But they're refusing to arm the people within the community, young men, and to go and protect the community. And that is why it falls on our shoulders to set up vigilante groups to protect ourselves, to make those who are going to be trying to go with the AK-47 to think twice. I'm going to go to this community. They are they've got the vigilante group. Make this. This is the psychology behind it. But anyway, that's another. But I'm just trying to give us clear indication of the failure of governance on ground as we speak in contrast from Nigeria now, and why we are justified in going for self-determination. Let's carry on.
Arming themselves for that fight.
So you see, so anyway, so that's the video right there. Let me escape this one. Okay, I'll bring that out. Now let us now go and look at the next thing. I'm going to do this electoral bill. Let's listen to what the president said. I may not listen to all of it. Well, I might pick bits. The so-called president of contraction Nigeria. People are dying. The misplaced priorities. Look, as I go along, I want you to see. You see, symbol. I keep talking about symbol is everything, but people don't understand me. Symbol is everything. When you see the president stand and you see that, and what you see there is the military hat. That is a sign to themselves that they are the ones in control. We are not a democracy. But people are not picking up that. Look at what I've just put up there. That is a sign of the continued domination of that nation. We are not a democracy. We are not. You would think, oh, he's standing there. Why is a man standing behind the president inside the villa? Is he going to be killed by his men inside the villa? And does he have to be in shot? It is meant to send out a signal, a subliminal message that we are in control and you accept it. That is the clearest evidence that we are not a democracy. I say it categorically, we are not a democracy. These are the military men that imposed that fraudulent constitution. Let me show you the constitution, the paperwork about it. Let me quickly show you. See if I can find that for you quickly. Because now and then I like to bring it back and just show us, to remind us of what we must get rid of to have a better future as Igbos, as Middle Belt, as Oduduwa people. Now, let's get that for you. 1 second. Where is it? 1 second, please. I'll get that. So, I do hope what I'm saying makes sense. And I am not a fountain of knowledge. I am just sharing my own thoughts, ideas, and I've done quite a bit of research in terms of the Constitution. A bit of an expert in that. I've looked at it extensively, but that has led me to draw the conclusions that I now draw before you. Now, let's see if I can find that. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So, this is the problem. This here is the problem. What you see before you is the Constitution, the fraudulent Constitution of Nigeria. It's a fraud. It's a promulgation decree number 24 of 1999. Let me see if I can actually... I thought you could see the top of it, but you can't. So I'm going to have to go back that way and see if you can see it. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see that now. Yes, you can see that. So it says here, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, promulgation decree number 24 of 1999. That is the fraud. And that is what has been used to oppress and suppress us since the 29th of May, 1999. Well, in fact, the 5th day of May, 1999. The 29th of May, 1999, they used this fraud to swear in the first president. And since then, every single president after Obasanjo has to swear on oath to defend this fraudulent constitution. And there is the problem. That constitution has got 68 exclusive items denying you access to the resources that you see behind me. The resources you see behind me. It denies you access to it, oppresses you in your own land, suppresses and oppresses you in your own land, preventing you from having infrastructure on your land. And they expect you to support that one Nigeria. And that's why you need to wake up. That's why we have to go for referendum now. So I'm just bringing that to your attention so that we know, to refresh our mind, the reason why we have to go for self-determination. Let's carry on. Okay, so now we've laid the foundation so you can see what's going on. Again, I reiterate, if you look at the shot, in many of the shots, you will see the army somewhere. The army sign is there. It's not even the face. This is psychology. Go check it out. It's sending out a message. We're in control. We're in control. We're in control. And that is not a democracy. And we must have, to have true democracy, the voice of the people must be heard. To have true democracy, the voice of the people must be heard by way of a referendum. They will decide what type of laws they want to be used to govern them. We did not have that opportunity. We were never afforded that opportunity. They imposed this constitution on us all. That is the plain fact. Let's carry
on. Of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election. This provision has introduced qualification and disqualification criteria that alter various.
Tell me of what use is an electoral amendment when the very foundation is wrong? Of what use? I can tell you for a fact that the so-called Independent National Electoral Commission is not independent. The independence you see is only in name. Again, I restate categorically, the last and only true fair elections, fair and elections we ever had remains the 12th of June 1993 elections that was generally, including Babangida, accepted to be free and fair. The words of Babangida. But then they truncated that process and they have since imposed themselves and judge and jury over 200 million citizens. the military are doing this. The military are still in control. Look at the red card behind and tell me that's not the case. Your thoughts? I'm just sharing ideas which for you to look at things and really be aware. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like to urge you to please go ahead, subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Go ahead and do so now if you haven't done so. Take this point to do that. Click on the red button. Hit the notification button. Give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate your support. Never mind what Facebook are doing. We will continue crack on regardless of what they're doing. But I wanted to just put there as we're speaking. Thank you, and let's continue. Here we go.
Constitution by way of imposing blanket restriction and disqualification to certain political office holders, of which they are constitutionally accorded protection.
You can change as many laws as possible. You see, you will know. Here's where you will know that this is a fraud. If the government truly had the interest of the people at heart, the clamor for self-determination would be acknowledged already by those in government. But they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't consider us to have the right. They have given themselves the right to decide the future of millions of Nigerians and exclude the people from deciding their own future. And yet they want the people to vote on what they have imposed upon them. Can you see that this is a fraud? That is the point I'm making here. I hope this makes sense. Let's carry on.
The practical application of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Bill 2022 will, if assented to by operation of law, subject certain political office holders to inhibitions and restrictions referred to under Section 40 and 42 of the 1999 Constitution is amended.
You see? Amended. That Constitution is a fraud.
To note that
they keep referring to that fraud, and that fraud has denied millions of us the development that we as people deserve, the infrastructure that we as people deserve, the jobs that would be in our economy. Again, I will touch on that later on. As we speak, there are 42 billion tons of bitumen in Ondo State. That should they choose, if we had a good governance, that would be the source through which all of our roads across the whole of continental Nigeria would be tarred and jobs would be created. Mining of those bitumen would be done. But our governance, they go and import bitumen, 4 million tons every year. Go and check it. You cannot continue to support that kind of bad governance. They are impoverishing you, and they want you to vote for them, to vote them in. When you vote them in, they are not going to go and import the same 4 million tons of bitumen every year when you have it in your own soil. It's time we woke up. It really is time we woke up. We have to go for self-determination. We need to go our own way. If the Arewa people want the same governance and they keep the name Nigeria, let them keep it. But we in the South, Middle Belt, Igbos, Oduduwa people, we have the right as indigenous people to self-determination. The oppression, suppression, and denial of our access to good infrastructure, healthcare, schools, bridges, water, light has gone on long enough. Let's continue.
Constitutional expectation placed on certain political office holders that qualify by extension as public officers within the context of the Constitution is resignation, withdrawal of retirement at least 30 days before the date of the election.
At this point, when they are talking about elections, it's important to understand that for as long as we have this fraudulent constitution in place, any election held will neither be free nor fair. Let me state that again. For as long as we have this fraudulent constitution in place without the citizens making changes that they will vote on via referendum, any elections held, this constitution is the fraud. Any elections held will neither be free nor fair because it remains an imposition. The voice of the people continues to be silenced. It is very important that we understand this key central point. They are talking about 2022 elections when even the constitution is an imposition. The voice of the people has still not been heard by way of a referendum. That constitution remains an imposition. I hope you're following what I'm saying. Let's carry on for a few minutes, and then we will. I might wrap it up here and come back
Hence,
later on.
it will be stretching things beyond the constitutional limit to import extraneous restriction into the Constitution on account of practical application of Section 8(4), subsection 12 of the bill, where political...
When you hear all of this, it's all words, it's empty words. As we speak, as a diasporan, I can't vote in the elections. You hear me? As a diasporan, many 20, 30 million citizens of that contraption who send money home every week, we can't vote in that in any elections. We have never been able to vote. So what they're doing here is a charade. It's a game. It's time we all woke up. If they truly were about democracy, then they would make, in the US, there's postal vote, there's voting from abroad, you can do this, we could vote electronically. In fact, all of us could be voting electronically, but they don't want that. They are putting in manual systems to control it, to ensure that the true number of people are never reflected. Because if it happens, it will expose the lie that the North has more people. Look, there are so many layers to what is being done here. And we need to unpack this among ourselves clearly, intelligently, and systematically. And working by explaining this to our people. I might come back and do this program. I might even switch to pitching in between this at some point. But I wanted to just really home in on this point in a clear, unambiguous manner to make us understand that there are so many reasons why we are totally justified in going for self-determination. Because as I'm speaking to you, the amendment there and all of that is all dressed up to look like it's a big thing. But they are denying the people a voice to decide what kind of rules they want to be used to rule above them. It remains an imposition. Are you following me? I hope this makes sense. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. These are the kind of things that when we talk about these things, we don't say it. It's not said out of, just 1 second, please. Oops, 1 second. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it is not said to upset or anything. We are stating facts, and we need to encourage ourselves, to really get beneath all of the lies, the veneer of lies. They have weaved a web of deceit, a web of lies. So when you're listening to this broadcast, it's not even worth listening to any of these things because it is not going to impact your life. This electoral, whatever they've signed into law now, it's not going to improve your life because the very fact, the so-called Independent National Electoral Commission will never be free and independent. This is why we need a new constitution. This is why we need a new referendum. A referendum where the people decide. And we, the people, will decide if we want to be part of this contraption or go our own way. We must have, it is our right as indigenous people, as Igbos, as Middle Belt, as Oduduwa people. It is our right, and we are being denied that right. And they are telling us to believe in one Nigeria, and one Nigeria that would not, it will not protect your life. They have admitted that they cannot protect our lives, and they say defend yourself. But yet the government of the day refuses to protect us, give us means to protect ourselves. Let me show you exactly what I mean when they say to give you the means to protect your life. Let me show you. Let me show you. This is what happened in Ukraine. Yeah, let me forward it to this place. Let me forward it to where Ukraine. Yeah, the government felt that they've been invaded. What do? The government gave the people arms to protect themselves. Let me ask you, the government that's telling you to go for one Nigeria, are they protecting you? Just think about that. Have they given you the means to protect yourself? Have they? Watch this video. Think about it.
Today, as those missiles start falling, and now the images that you're seeing here again in Kiev, civilians arming themselves. We know, of course, that conscription is now in place in Ukraine for men aged between 18 and 60. They are being not allowed to leave the country, and indeed are being conscripted to defend their country. And here we see them arming themselves for that fight.
So again, I put that to you. That's clear evidence. Is your federal government giving you the arms, the means to defend yourself in your community, or are they leaving you to the wind for the terrorists to come and kill you on a daily basis in your community? And all they have for you is one word: we're really sorry. Yes, we will restore calm. They restore calm, and then the people will come again. And it's like the federal government is actually bossing around these terrorists to go and be clearing our communities because they want the resources. Macbilla was prevented from tabling a motion about thief people being displaced from thief land by Ahmed Wase. Ahmed Wase, the deputy speaker, and nobody has challenged Ahmed Wase. And yet you tell me to believe in one Nigeria when one Nigeria is overseeing the taking of the land that rightly belongs to indigenous people. We can't join this. We can't continue to speak. These are lies that are being spewed out that we have to refute. These are the reasons why we have to go for self-determination. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. If it does, please type 1. Because what I'm saying here is to really wake our minds up. We have been put to sleep by a combination of things. The religion of Islam, Christianity, and the praying mentality, the do as I say, not as I do mentality, all of this. And the symbolic ongoing oppression and imposition of a fraudulent constitution by the military who are still in power. How many of the people who are in the presidential council, how many of them are military? How many of them? How many of the people in the presidential council, how many of them are military? Almost all of them, except Goodluck Jonathan and Eshenoko, and maybe there's maybe a 3. The rest, they've all got military background. We are not a democracy. It's plain fact. This is not, I'm not kidding. Go and research it. Please do your own research. What I'm trying to do is to wake us up. We need to wake up. These guys are enslaving us. That red cap is to sign a symbol of the control of the military on us. We are not a democracy. I state it categorically. I hope you can see it. Let's listen for a few minutes to this, then I'll move on to the next thing again.
Parties, conventions, and congresses were to hold earlier than 30 days to...
You know what? I'm actually going to stop listening to this. I don't need to listen to it. The comments he made, the paper they wrote on this electoral amendment, the words written there is not worth the paper they wrote it on. I am stating that categorically. It's not. Let me ask you a question. By making this, by this amendment that they signed, oh great, will it make sure that you can have free and fair elections? Will it? Will it? You already know the answer. You already know it won't. Because the system, they may write laws, but they are in control of the system for the independent. There is nothing independent. The only thing independent about INEC is the word independent in the National Electoral Commission. Everything else, they are not independent. Let me say that again. The only thing that is independent is the word independent. The fact that they wrote Independent National Electoral Commission does not mean that the INEC are independent. They are not. And that is because the military are in control. And until we understand this fact, we cannot make any changes there. And that's one of the reasons why we are saying it is time for us to go for self-determination. We must go for self-determination because this is an imposition. They are simply not allowing the voice of the people to be heard. So I'm going to pack this. I'm not going to play it anymore because it's actually going to be a waste of time to dissect anything they said here. Because at the end of the day, they control that system. You can write what you read. You can sign any amendment you want. But the body that's going to implement it is not independent. That is what I'm telling you. And that is why we are saying, say no to 2023 elections. We must have a referendum first. Say no to 2023 elections. We must have a referendum first. Because any elections that takes place under this current constitution will neither be free nor fair. It will neither be free nor fair. Plain fact. Take it or leave it. Okay, so I'm going to move on away from that now. Let's go back here. Now, let's look at what this government did in terms of oil. Fake oil. Listen now. Listen to this. Here is the NNPC general manager, managing director. He's telling us how fuel was adulterated, fuel was imported. So hang on, what does NNPC do? So isn't NNPC supposed to oversee how our oil is taken out and all of this process? Whose responsibility? Should this man still be in this work? Should he still be employed? And many of you are also forgetting the minister for petrol remains the so-called your Buhari. Your Buhari is still your minister for petrol. And that is why this man is a general managing director. Your minister for petroleum remains your president. He's saying nothing about this. And people's cars, have they put in place a compensation plan for the cars whose engine was damaged? Have they? Yet more evidence of why we have to go for self-determination and referendum. We just keep putting all of this out there for you to consider yourselves. You may not think about it, might be going fast now. I urge you all, share this among friends and family. Watch it over again. Leave comments. These are realities of what we are faced with daily. Now let's carry on. Okay, so let's watch this now. Let's see what he's going to say here.
It is a very, very difficult period for us. And it's very important to update our customers and the members of the general public on the ongoing efforts.
So Mele Kyari. Do you know that name? Mele Kyari. This is the brother to Abba Kyari who passed away. Look, again, another evidence of why we have to go for self-determination. These guys, just making an excuse is not what the job is about. The lives of the people are impacted by this failure to spot and to prevent this happening. And they are not putting a compensation structure in place to ease the pains of the people. That's bad governance. Let's listen on.
By NNPC and other stakeholders, including you, to resolve the issues generated by the unfortunate supply and discharge of methanol-blended gasoline in some Nigerian depots. Precisely on the 20th of January, NMPC received a report from a quality inspector on the presence of emulsion particles.
It should mean quality control should mean that it shouldn't get into the system in the first place. Anyway, let's just listen on.
The PMS cargoes shipped to Nigeria from Antwerp, Belgium. NMPC investigations revealed the presence of methanol in 4 of the PMS cargoes imported by our DSTP suppliers.
Now, we have 4 refineries in that contraption, none of them working. And these are the people you want in governance to be ruling over you? This is clear evidence of yet again 4 refineries, and we are having to, the cost of actually exporting the oil to process it and bring it back in? That's double cost. And not providing, by exporting the oil, we're exporting jobs out of the country. By exporting the oil to be processed, the oil processing jobs out of the country, we're denying our people jobs. It's time we go our separate way. I could go on for the next 200 days. I can list to you every single area that this governance has failed and will continue to fail us. But let's listen to this one. We still don't have refinery. A nation of 200 million people has no refinery to refine the oil it extracts from its natural resources. And you are telling us that you're a government? Really? Wow. Listen on.
Including MRS, MRDEV, High Energy, AY, McKiffy, Britannia, U Consortium, Oando, and also our own company, Dick Oil. Cargo quality certificates issued at Lord Port, which is Antwerp, Belgium, by Amspec, Belgium.
Why are you see, this is why we keep saying we are not creating jobs by allowing the processing of oil to be done outside of the country. We are denying jobs to our citizens. And you say that is governance? Let's go for self-determination. My people, join in this struggle. This is impacting your life, your coming generations. If we continue to allow these people to oppress and suppress us in our own land, we will remain slaves forever. It's time to break free.
Indicates that the gasoline complied with Nigerian specifications. The NMPC quality inspectors, including GMO, SGS, JOCHEM, and G&G, all world class.
So they are world class, but the world class is not showing in the fact that the petrol is contaminated. Let me just show you. Let me get this out for you, because I want to show you so you can understand that what this guy is trying to paint is actually worse than they're saying. But they're not, they're trying to save face. And these are right. I hope many of us are taking cognizance of this.
1 tablespoon of this simple remedy stops sugar spike.
That it is time for us to do better as Southerners. We are being dragged down and oppressed and suppressed in our land, and we must do better. The only way we can do that is via this self-determination. And we must continue to encourage our youth to wake up rapidly to the fact that the resources that you see behind me, they are being denied access to it to improve their lives. I will let you in on a secret. Our soil, our land is the most valuable land. So much so that in 1800, 1890, Germany, France, and UK were in a tussle for who will get it, who was going to be the colonial power over it. Eventually, Britain won it. That is our soil. In that soil, there are over 40 mineral resources. That is what they are after. That is why we must no longer be part of contraption Nigeria. It's a slave camp. Now, let me see if I can show you this thing now. Video. So 1 minute. I just want to show you what the oil looks like. 1 minute. Oh. One minute. Let's give me a minute, please. We have work to do. I really do. So here we go. So now, trying to see the fake oil, if I can find it for you. It's not there. I will bring it back later. But anyway, what I'm saying in effect, the oil that has been sold, this man here is making excuses. He should already be sacked. He should be sacked.
Surveyors and inspectors conducted tests on this before discharge and also showed that the gasoline met Nigerian specifications.
So why is it destroying the engines? Why is it all over the place then? The controls were not there.
As a standard practice for all PMS imports to Nigeria, the cargoes were equally certified by inspection agents appointed by the midstream and downstream petroleum authority as products that met Nigerian
it's not for us all,
specifications.
yes.
It is important to note that the usual quality inspection protocol employed in both load port in Belgium and our discharge ports in Nigeria.
Don't these people have shame? The Lord port in Belgium. We are the ones producing this that have the oil. It is far cheaper for us to have that oil processed in our soil, and it gets to the market quicker, and it reduces traveling costs, expenses, other expenses that they factor in, and with that expertise will be good for our economy. But this, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Do not include the test for percentage of methanol content, and therefore additive was not detected by our quality inspectors.
We're not interested in this. You failed the people. Somebody somewhere should be already, not only just yourself, but others that allowed this to be happen should all be sacked. But we know it's not going to happen. And that is why we're saying we've had enough of Contract for Nigeria. Contract for Nigeria is making excuses. There's no attempt to compensate those whose cars have been destroyed. None. They just talk and go. There's no, and yet the same constitution they used to impose on us is why this is happening. And that's why we have to put a stop to it. Right, let's go.
To prevent the distribution of the petrol, we have ordered the quarantine of all unevacuated volumes and the holding back of all affected products in transit, both on trucks and in marine, and our partners are cooperating.
So we're going to be leaving in the next 5-6 minutes, so I'm going to wrap up.
We'd like also to emphasize that all defaulting suppliers have been put on notice for remedial actions, and NNPC will work with the authority to take further necessary actions in line with subsisting regulations. May I also emphasize that this is a very unfortunate situation. We apologize to Nigerians for this situation.
We are not interested in your apology. Is there a compensation structure in place to help make good the damage that has been done to their lorries, their cars, their vehicles? Is there? Yes or no?
However, we assure Nigerians that we are currently sourcing additional cargoes to ensure product sufficiency, and we do not see any danger or any supply
sourcing additional ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I'm gonna
in this situation. I'd like to thank you for your patience, and we remain committed to serving you. Thank you very much.
They are not interested in serving you. They are only interested in oppressing us. The people in government, the composition of the people in government must reflect the people across the whole nation, not for a few sections or a few tribes or a few, whatever they want to call them. And the people who are in government, Fulani, in many of the cases. Let's not kid ourselves. The time has really come for us all to join hands and go for self-determination. Our voices has been silenced. The voices of 200 million people have been silenced by the fraudulent governance. And it is time for us to go for referendum so we can go our separate ways. We can have Middle Belt, Igbo land, Oduduwa Nation. All of those places. We are tired of being slaves in our own land. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for watching this podcast. I'll be back later on at some point. I wanted to just touch base on this. What are your thoughts? Leave your comments. As ever, please share this podcast. One thing I would urge you to do before I go is I will do a phone in later on about a few other things and about Kiev and all of that, Ukraine. So, but before we go, please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And please do leave your comments. We appreciate you joining us. The more you help us spread the word, the more we can reach more people and get the message out there about self-determination. Self-determination is our inalienable right. It's one that nobody can deny us. We've been oppressed and suppressed long enough in our own land. It is time for us to work together and achieve self-determination via referendum. That is of immense importance. The resources that you see behind me, we have been denied access. As I speak to you, even now, every single year, the government of Nigeria imports 4 million tons of bitumen. Yet we have 42 billion tons of bitumen in Ondo State, in Lagos, and in Lagos and Ogun State. And this is an oppression and suppression of the people. Yet our roads are bad. There's no excuse to have bad roads in contrast to Nigeria because we have the resources to be able to actually fix the roads and export it, given the right kind of governance. But it's not going to happen, and the system will not allow it. That's why we have to go for self-determination. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you for watching this broadcast. If you have any comments, suggestions, do leave it. We will endeavor to look through it, look at it, and provide some answers. If you have solutions as well, please do bring it forward. All of us, we have a role to play in this. The people who are in Kiev, Nigerians in Kiev, they do not have confidence that the government will help them. The government did not even know. They're saying they'll send plane back. Send plane to what? The airspace is closed. You should be looking at other means of getting our people out of there quickly. And that's example of a bad governance, failure to plan, failure to envisage how to improve the lives of the citizens. There is nothing they're doing to improve our lives. There's no light, there's no water, there's no schools, there's no bridges, there's no hospital, there's no safety, there's no security. What is it that you want me to do? The only way one Nigeria will make sense is if you are part of the people that want Southerners, you are happy for Southerners to be exterminated from their own land. And we must reject that. The coming generation are counting on our actions. Let's work together. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you for watching. I'll be back later on. Probably be on Ududua TV radio, or maybe, and because we need to talk a bit more about a few more things. But one more thing I want to urge us all: vigilante groups is a must. I urge you all, please, we need to set up more vigilante groups, and also, at some point, all of the organizations who are involved in trying to actualize Ududua Nation, we need to make sure that there is. There are things that we need to do. I don't want to say it on here. There is a lot more work for us all to do, and make sure we build that confidence. We have to build the confidence and encourage our people to speak truth to power. Make them aware that we are being lied to. And the more we have a lot of work to make sure that many people do not fall for the lie called the election 2023, because it's a fraud, and the INEC is not independent. INEC is not independent. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.